start talking. Tell people what's up.
Hey everyone, we are having a little bit of technical difficulties, but it's okay. We're going to work through it. We got Ramsey behind the scene. He's fixing everything. So if you're seeing any glitches, we'll get it figured out. But we are obviously live on another episode of Unboxed. And today we have a very special guest. His name is Brian Descent. He's from Privada Cigar Club. And of course, if you don't know Privada Cigar Club, you've probably been living underneath a rock. Check it out on Instagram. Join the club if you are able to. It's private right now, but you can sign up for Farm Rolled over at privadacigarclub.com. Brian, thanks for joining me.
It is my absolute pleasure. Thank you. And thank you for that.
Dude,
wonderful...
thank you for working through the technical difficulties as we go through this. But again, we're talking about Halloween cigars. And Halloween cigars, like you said, you can't talk about Halloween cigars without talking about Pete Johnson.
No.
It's the history.
So he came out with the Monster Series in 2008. He did 13 releases. And then now he's switching over to a different style of program, I think doing it on the actors that played the monsters. And so I think if the Monster Series was still going, I probably wouldn't have released Privada Ghosts. But I didn't know that the actor series was coming, and I just felt like that was like Tatuaje's thing. I mean, they made Halloween and cigars synonymous, you know?
Absolutely. I got a few here. I don't even know what they're from. I think this one is the...
looks like the oh, okay, yeah.
The green label, or dark green. Then this one, I think that was the Hyde, right?
Is it green? I can't see it. Does it have a green writing?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the Hyde. That has a Sanctus Spiritum wrapper on it, and I freaking love that. I loved all of them. They're all amazing. And so for us to do a Halloween cigar, it's like, how dare we? That's how I feel. But at the same time, the program is just so much different from the Monsters, and the Monsters thing is kind of, you know, turning into something else now. So I felt like it was appropriate. And so Privada Ghosts is the program. And these are, I was telling you earlier, so these are basically like, you know, you go into a humidor, there's a bunch of old dudes there, and you grab a cigar, and they're like, that cigar sucks. It used to be great when it was made by this person.
Right.
And so we went and looked for blends that used to be made at certain places, blends that if people knew I had, we would definitely, someone would get a lawsuit over that. But, you know, I'm not disclosing that, so no one would ever possibly know. The story is, if you're in the industry, you might be able to trace it, but it could be one of a few people, so I'm not too concerned about that. These are legendary blends that haven't been made for a long time, and that when they did come out, really took the cigar game by storm.
That's awesome. And I love, we talked already about the sticker looking just like the Garbage Pail Kids. So good. I love it.
Dude, so I said to my art guys today, I was like, dude, listen, Mike, I want to do something, you know, more friendly than, you know, like horror stuff. And I wanted to really capture those 80s graphics and stuff. And then I was like, oh, Garbage Pail Kids. So I was like, use this as inspiration. But he just did a Garbage Pail Kid, you know, and so he sent it back to me. And so initially I was like, oh, wow, I love that. But then I was like, well, it's the actual thing. But then I was like, no, it's too cool to change, man. We can't change that. So that's it.
All the way down from the font to the naming on the bottom. It's so good. It's epic.
I love that.
Nice job.
I love that.
Obviously, as always, it comes with a rap sheet on the story. The whole thing gets you into it. You're like, oh man, I can't wait to smoke this. And Nicaraguan Puro. It's got 99 in there. Corojo 99, right? Yes.
Yep.
Corojo 99, Criollo binder, Esteli filler, all Nicaraguan. Which, to me, most of the time I get too much pepper from Nicaraguan Puros. This is not that way. I mean, in the beginning, the first third, it was a little bit that way, but now it's smoothed out super well. I'm loving that.
First third kicks you a little bit, gets you going, which I like when I first start smoking. I want that pepper in, I want that sinus thing, and then it really starts turning in sweet and baker's spices and all types of different flavors. So It's a listen. I didn't make the cigar. It was already a legend. I can take no credit for that.
Right.
It's a hell of a stick.
But it also helps me think about it and go, okay, what am I smoking? I like the fact that you actually put the leaves in there because it's like, okay, I know what this kind of tastes like. But then when it all comes together, you're like, okay, now and the story, I'm like, yeah, this tastes like harvest season right now. Like it's rich, it's creamy, it's got some spice to it. You know, it goes great with coffee, of course.
Yes, sir.
So nice job on that. But back to Halloween cigars. Unbelievable. I've been trying to like comb the internet for like what people have done. Obviously, the new Tatuaje monster that's out this year is named is it Kruger? No, Karloff.
Karloff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Karloff. And that's great if you can find it, you know, but at the end of the day, this is just all stuff to get excited about, you know, cigars, the season. There's nothing in our industry that really comes out of I can expect this every season other than to me than Halloween. There's like no Christmas cigars, there's no like spring cigar, like there's no seasonal cigar.
I'm going to call it here because I feel like there's so many young creative people trying to get in the cigar game now, so I'm sure someone's going to come up with this idea at some point. So just know you heard it here first on October 9th of 2020. We are doing a Thanksgiving theme situation next year. It's my favorite holiday, and it's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be the best thing I've ever done.
Nice. So I would say, okay, that you brought up a good point. Thanksgiving cigars. I know Viaje's done a Thanksgiving cigar, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, Viaje will put out a cigar for any occasion. So yeah, he's done. You know, you name it. I mean, he's done it. But Viaje is a sub thing. It kind of it doesn't quite take over the way that Tatuaje and other brands. So when those brands, when Viaje does something, it's pretty subculture. There's a limited amount, of course, you know, that kind of thing. And so not everyone has seen that or knows that. Instagram is making that more popular. But yeah, this isn't just going to be a cigar, though. It's going to be a whole situation and an experience.
And I know about 10 years ago, Asylum put out some sort of a Halloween-themed cigar. I believe the devil was in the name of it somehow. I was trying to get my hands on one just to see if, you know, what it was all about, what it looked like.
Yeah.
So it's been interesting to see these other cigar companies, you know, not necessarily hopefully copying what Pete has done, but just riding the wave of like people's interest, right? We're all interested in this stuff.
I mean, it's like, you know, it's like someone inventing the guitar solo in a song. It's like after a few years, you know, if it was really great, it's inspiring. Art inspires art. So there's no way that he was going to be able to keep that to himself. But I didn't want to just put out a cigar for Halloween. I needed it to be a Privada thing where it's an experience. You're learning something as you smoke it. You're getting to smoke a piece of history. You know, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. That's hence the story, right? That's why you bring us the story. That's what we get romanticized about, and that's what we get into. I mean, the story's half the battle when enjoying a cigar. You know,
sure.
I've smoked a cigar not even knowing it, and I was kind of like, not so much. And then I learned more about it, and I'm like, oh my God, this is a great cigar. And it's a story, you know?
100%.
So I liked how you said
get ready for everyone to be writing stories about cigars now. Thanks, Rob.
But I like how you said it. Like the artist, Pete Johnson, of course, art inspires other art. But then too, as a consumer, the story behind the art inspires you to consume it. You know, even whether it's a picture or music or anything that's artistic, if you know more about it, you get more into it. And I just love that. Thank you for bringing that to the cigar industry. Not that it's already been there, but you more of it.
Yeah. No, I love cigar culture. Privada is all about cigar culture, pushing the culture forward. I think that we were getting off course as a culture, to be honest with you. I think the cigar nerd had kind of taken over for a little bit, and the cigar nerd was not a very nice person all the time. And I think that we're pulling it into cigar heads, and these people are the best people you'll ever meet. They mail bomb each other. I mean, you know, you can't even, if you drop out of our club because of COVID or something, like you can't drop out. Like we have members that'll pay for your box. Like we give you the stuff for free. Like this isn't amazing. This isn't just some online retail situation. This is a whole community of people. I could have never done this on my
Let's
own.
talk about that a little bit, because you have two good distinctions there. And you're just calling it the cigar nerd versus the cigar head. But the idea behind it going the wrong way, what was causing it to go the wrong way? Was it the coveting of cigars, the pompous
No,
attitude, or what was it that you felt
no.
like, hey, it's moving away from what we really care about?
Yeah. Okay. So one thing that people need to understand, and I truly believe this, I would say about half of our members were already avid cigar smokers, and the other half were people who wanted to get into cigar smoking, but didn't have an entrance in. Okay, a nice entrance in. They probably went to a cigar shop and got either not made fun of, but made to feel stupid. You know the deal.
Right.
We've had this conversation many a times. That kind of thing. They were judged in some way, shape, or form. And so Privada has given a lot of people an entrance in. So, I don't feel like, and this goes back to like, clubs and being competitive. Like I don't compete with any other club. We are not any other club. We are not any other subscription business. We are not any other retailer. This is something totally different. And I think that it's really telling that we've created a whole sort of a new segment of the market because of that, So it's true. Just because you enter the same industry as someone doesn't mean that there's one pie and everyone's fighting for slices of it. You can expand on that, and there's enough for everyone to go around. So, and I've always said that right from the beginning. I come from a position of abundance in that sense. I believe that there's enough for everyone. You just have to know who you are and what you do better than everyone else.
Well said. I like how you're talking more about just coming in and bringing something new or something different to the marketplace for people
So
to
here's
enjoy.
what happened. Here's what happened to answer your question. Okay, you went through the cigar boom of the late 90s, early 2000s, okay? Every cool guy and cool girl was smoking a cigar. I'm talking about hot chicks at bars with cigars in their mouth. Like everywhere you went, they were smoking cigars. Couldn't find cigars. It fizzled, okay? And then, it turned into like from like basically I believe like from like '07 to like 12 or 13 of only like shop clerks and like real people who actually really enjoyed cigars. It was no longer jewelry all of a sudden. It was no longer, just a fashion statement. So the people whose jobs were created possibly during the cigar boom, right? Because let's say before the cigar boom, a shop had 5 people on staff. During the cigar boom, they probably had 10, 15, 20 people, right? And so these people were on the inside, they were in the industry, so to speak, as retailers. And so those were the people that were left smoking cigars, not only smoking cigars, but smoking really cool boutique cigars. And so, of course, it's human nature to be of the caliber of, if I'm in the business and I only smoke 2 or 3 brands because they're brand new, no one knows about them, and I'm super, ear to the streets guy, you know what I mean? And then I see you walk in and buy a blah, blah, blah that everyone and their mother smokes. It's like, this guy, you know what I mean? It's like, so I understand that. But I think that by the time I got into this business around 14, 15, 16, well, I didn't get in until 17, but the time I started really becoming a cigar head, 14, 15, 16, that's what was left. A lot of that. And probably a lot of maybe sort of frustrated store owners because 10 years ago they were making a fortune and now they were left with, cigar nerds. And so here we come, and I'm like, no, I saw that happen in sneaker culture. Everything I did was based on sneaker culture. I mean, I was a sneakerhead, and then I transferred that energy into cigars. And so I saw that, and I was like, that was a huge mistake in sneakerhead culture too. The guys who were too cool, ended up with a very, very small movement that no one was really loyal to. And the guys that were open and friendly and educative and educating and that kind of thing, those were the guys who ended up in a much better position with a much longer lasting movement. And so that's where I decided, and plus I'm just a nice guy. Like, I'm not here to be a douche to anyone, So I think we gave this segment, to people who wanted to be cigar heads, didn't know as much as the nerds, and now we're all coming together, and I'm siphoning information from you, from every cigar manufacturer, from every cigar tobacco farmer. I'm just siphoning stories and information all the time, and to the point where most of my guys are know as much as the cigar nerds. Maybe not about the cigars in 2013, but now they do. They know as much currently and more.
Right.
That's
so cool. So there was no
Yeah.
Privada Cigar Club for the sneaker industry, is what you're saying. You just didn't capitalize on that one.
No. I didn't. So I was wealthy, rich. I had money before I got into cigars, but to do something like this in the sneaker industry would have required more than just a mill or two.
Right.
You know what I mean? You would have had to, and you would have had to have the foresight to. I mean, the guys that did that were basically like StockX and stuff like that, and who knows how many
Sure.
hundreds of millions of dollars went into that. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and remember, Privada wasn't started based on a real business. It was just me selling my collection. So
Right. It was just exchanging cigars with a friend, pretty much.
pretty much.
We were all your friend, and you gave us cigars. It was great.
Yeah.
Still happens today. Love it.
Still happens today. You could still email me.
Yeah. Love it.
And that's how I got to know you. That's how I got to know everyone. It was just through the emails and the phone calls. Like, hey, I had my phone number on the website before. But let's get back to Halloween. Let's get back to Halloween, because this thing sold out a lot faster than I thought it would. And when these things sell out this quickly, it's flattering, but it's also a little bit concerning, because I want to be able to share this with people who really want it. And I feel like when they sell out too fast, that there are some people, hey, they have jobs, they have lives. People are sick right now. They can't just be glued to Instagram and YouTube all the time to know when everything drops. And so that's something that I'm going to be working on for the future of how to, make sure all my core people get some,
Sure. Did you feel like did you limit the amount of purchases one could make, or was it unlimited, or what do you feel like is going to help?
No, I didn't do any of that. I didn't do any of that this time, because I just thought there was enough that it wasn't going to happen. It wasn't going to happen in 2 days. That's for sure. I didn't think it was going to sell out in 48 hours.
It sold out in 48 hours, huh?
48, like 52 hours, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And
So-
625
so we will-
is what my
Yeah.
thing says, out of 625.
Yeah.
Wow. That's quick.
Yep.
That's really quick.
Yeah.
So hopefully, down the road you can make some adjustments and everybody can get a piece of the pie.
Correct.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
What do you think makes people want to covet specialty or Halloween or just any limited edition cigar? What makes them want to covet it? Because I know Pete Johnson did dress boxes, and that was like a thing to covet, to accumulate a collection of dress boxes in a series. So
Right. Within, it was a limited edition within a limited edition.
Right.
Very cool. Very, very cool. We don't want our parents mass-produced crap anymore. We don't want, no disrespect to China, but we don't want some mass-produced crap that you buy at a flea market. We are not looking for bargains, and that's not to say that we're not frugal or we're throwing our money away, but we're not those people, that we know the websites those guys go to, and that's great. They have their own space. That was an era of people, that baby boomer generation. They'll buy things just because it's a deal. They don't even want the product. They're just like, look, my dad does that all the time. You wouldn't believe it. I got another iPhone for $495. Why do you already have an? No, yeah, but when am I going to get a deal like that again? So that's not what we do. And so this limited edition culture taking off in every industry is a product of us wanting to do the opposite of what our parents and the older generations did.
Do you think, though,
we want things special?
Yeah. Do you think, though, sometimes you can get too wrapped up in limited edition and neglect the regular production of, let's say any cigar company, and they're really good cigars. They're just not limited edition. You can get them off the shelf anytime.
There are some. Okay, so great, great. I'll just be straight up transparent with you on this. Out of those companies, and I'm not going to mention names, but out of those companies with 15 what they call faces on the shelf, you know the word faces. It's such a I hate that word for some reason. I was in a shop with Rainier and from HVC and another and Pete Hernandez and Izzy. We were at Izzy's shop, Cigars on Waterford in Orlando, and he was like, Rainier was like, "How many faces you got, bro?" And I was like, "What? How many faces?" And he was like, "Yeah, each cigar box is a face."
Yeah.
Okay, I get it now. Okay, so we got 300 faces. Okay, I get that. Bro, if you have a line with 15 different faces and they're all available all the time, every season, every year, I'm sure that I know that there are some blends that can withstand that and be great. But I want you to think of it like this. Think about your favorite limited edition cigar that went mass produced. That they said, okay, it's no longer just a limited thing, or it used to be something that came out once a year, and then now all of a sudden it's regular production. Think about what it did to that cigar. That cigar is not the same cigar as it was when it was a limited production cigar. Not 3 years later, maybe at first, but not a few years later. That's just like Cigar of the Year and Cigar Aficionado. You get Cigar of the Year from Cigar Aficionado anytime after the word gets out that that cigar is Cigar of the Year, it is not the same cigar. And I can prove that.
Really?
100%. 100%. I don't want to throw any brands under the bus. But those brands are our elders, right? So we don't disrespect our elders. Those brands are our elders. They have a whole core line of people that is 9 times bigger than this audience. We are a little nickel of the industry, okay, out of the dollar. And that's really cool, man. And that's what I love. You know, to answer your question, there are, out of those brands that have 15 faces, a lot of those brands will have 1, 2, or 3 cigars. If you get them in the right size, in the right line, it's phenomenal. And those are the cigars that I go after.
Sure. So you already kind of know this is the size and the Vitola that I like out of this brand.
Yeah. Like this is the Vince. Can you see that? Okay, that's the Vince. Do you remember? You're a little younger than I am, but do you remember Tom Cruise and Paul Newman? Martin Scorsese directed it. Pool Hustlers, called The Color of Money.
I don't remember that. No.
Dude, this weekend, if you watch movies, go watch it. It's such a great movie. It's such a classic America in the 80s, like crazy. And so I came out with the Fast Eddie, which is Paul Newman's character. Do you remember the Fast Eddie cigar with the green band on the bottom, foot band, and it had the pigtail foot just like this?
Sure.
Okay, so it was like the junior version of it. Okay. So Fast Eddie, and then Tom Cruise plays Vince.
Got it.
Okay, and he wears a T-shirt with his name on it. He's a complete douche. And so I based that blend off of the V450 spark plug from CAO. That was one of my favorite cigars. Okay,
yes.
I tried to work with CAO. There was a guy I think named Eric that ran it, and they sold it to General. It is no longer, the same company. It is no longer the same people. I think they were run out of Nashville at one point by a family operated, but very cool. And they have some that is one brand that I look at and I'm like, I like their blends. Like, I'm not going to front. CAO puts out some nasty stuff. That Colombia, the Brazil, and the box press. Bro, the whole camshaft or driving, the engine thing, or whatever. What is it? Camshaft? They have all the spark plug.
Yes.
Spark series. But the V450 spark plug, the little guy with the pigtail foot. I was like, and so I tried to deal with them, and like they sent some sales rep to me. And she was like, had no idea who we were, and she's just a sales rep. She may as well be selling cell phones, And I was just like, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna pass on that. We're gonna recreate it on our own. So we went with Blackbird. They were the ones who got closest to it without copying it exactly. It is definitely its own thing. I think that this is much more Padron-like than a V450 spark plug, but they're both in a similar Maduro. Oh man, this thing is. I can't wait to share that with you. So yes, limited edition is better because a lot of times you can't get that product in those quantities. And so what happens when you and truth be told, just like wine, see, we don't put vintages on cigars, right? And so like wine every year, like here, this tells me here's some whiskey, right? This tells me, what batch it came from, when it was made. If I spoke to the manufacturer, they could tell me, oh, we bottled that in 2014 and it was from, we were using corn from this guy's factory over here in East Bumblewood, and and so they could potentially recreate that, but they probably couldn't, because when they go back to East Bumblewood 5 years later, his corn is now sprayed with something, and so we don't do vintages. So the master blenders that are really nasty, like a Dom Pepin or something, they're gonna each year, let's say it has 20% this, 40% that, 10% this, but each year that blend is going to change just slightly so that they can get that flavor again that they're looking for. And a lot of times they can't do it, but they continue to still put the cigar out, which leads to Ghosts, which is the guy going, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, kid. That cigar used to be so damn good and it's crap now. So that's where it's funny that it curtails back into that.
I love it. I love the fact that you picked out the spark plug too, because I've always loved that cigar, that rich flavor that it pulls out. It's just a great cigar.
So good.
Great cigar.
So good. So the thing with a cigar like that, when it has a broadleaf wrapper on it like that, is when you deal. This is where the big guys can win, is in that wrapper leaf, particularly because they can go to the farm that makes it and say, no, we'll take it all.
Right, and that's part of the battle, right? Because you're talking about, on the same vein of limited edition, it's like you said, it's probably because I can only get so many pounds of this wrapper leaf. So that equals, only 200,000 cigars right now. And if you switch where that wrapper is grown, it changes the flavor, because the soil is so important in that composition of flavor. So I totally get what you mean by limited edition sometimes means just what it is. I can't get any more because there's no more to grow. The flavor will change. And I think what you're alluding to too is like when you have to go to mass production, you have to change some of the blend to still mimic the same flavor. So so good.
I mean, look, there comes a time. See, and this is why I'm glad I'm not a brand. Okay.
Good point.
There comes a time when a brand has to put on its big boy pants. You can call yourself the artist and romanticize the story and tell us everything you want, but there comes a point where rubber meets road and you have to make money or you can't continue to do this. So there are a few brands that are boutique that I look at as complete crap. So don't get it twisted. It's not all, because they're not really boutique. They're not really limited. It's not, like, is it limited? Forget it. I don't even want to get into it. It's not important. It's not important. But yes, limited edition is always cooler than regular production. Sure. 100%. You can't get it again.
Absolutely. Right. This is it.
I want it.
This is it.
Right.
So that's why we covet cigars. We covet cigars because at this time I like this blend, and it's what I like to smoke. So you go out and you buy, what you can, and you hope to God you got enough to quench your thirst.
And the reason why I think Halloween works is because as Americans, we live a pretty good life. Even people that live like crap here live a pretty comfortable life compared to people in, who knows what country, right? I mean, my wife is from Armenia. They're being bombed right now by, other countries, Turkey and the Azerbaijan, places that we've never even heard of.
Right.
Okay. So we live this comfortable life somewhat. Again, everyone goes through hard times. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying in the grand scheme of things, we were lucky to be born here. We grew up, a lot of us, with cartoons, Garbage Pail Kids. Okay. It's dope. It pops off at you because, like, I remember that somewhere in this brain 30 years ago, that was a thing, and it's bringing me back. It's bringing me nostalgia. And so having things revolve around Halloween was genius on Pete's part because cigars are like our adult candy. If you're really into cigars, it's like a candy. It's like what you used to think about candy when you were a kid. And so I think that was a huge winning proposition on his part to do that, because it's just it's like candy.
Right.
And so when you limit the amount of candy you can get, well, that becomes cooler too, you know. So I think Halloween was just, I don't think anything will trump Halloween and cigars. Pardon my lack of.
Good point, though. Let's talk about some of the other cigars that come out during this time. Obviously, we've talked about a Thanksgiving cigar from Viaje. There was a nub cigar that came out called the Fall Harvest, which actually
I did not know.
Neither did I. I had to do all this research. It actually had
That's
pumpkin
awesome.
spice, cinnamon, and other spices infused in it. So that's interesting.
Okay.
Oktoberfest by Casada. I used to follow that because at the time I would drink Oktoberfest beer, smoke the cigar. They went well together. Mumbacho has a Diplomatico cigar that's not infused with Diplomatico, but it's blended so that it goes well with the drink. So there's these things out there that you only come up possibly during either a Oktoberfest or harvest season, or they might be limited edition like the Mumbacho, because they can't always blend that cigar the way it needs to pair with the drink. So I think that's fun part of it, because then that gets you to try new things. You're enjoying them with other things that you enjoy. And I like that part of cigar culture. It kind of encompasses everything you enjoy.
Yeah. And so I think that, I never really thought about that before, but I think from our childhoods, being able to look back at a happy childhood of, collecting candy on Halloween, this is now becoming our treat.
Right.
And so that's, I think, what really makes it pop.
Awesome. I agree. I mean, I always look forward to this time. And I think, too, you hit it on the head with Thanksgiving time. At least the shop that I was from, we would gather Thanksgiving Day kind of as a closed group knit of people and share a cigar and just say, hey, welcome to another great year. Thank you for being in my life. Yeah. Thank God to have you here as a shop and as a community that I can go and kind of just retreat to and enjoy life. And here's to another 365 days. See you next year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
And also, fall is the best time to smoke cigars. It's awesome.
You got a lot going on, right? You have the scenery's changing, at least up here in the Midwest.
It gets cooler.
Yes. And
it gets cooler. I like to smoke in cool weather. I don't know about you.
Well, yeah.
I'm stuck here. I'm in a swamp all year round. It's like.
Right. Hot weather probably is not as enjoyable to sit and relax, right? So that cool weather brings in that relaxation that your body needs. Yeah. It's just a full time to be a cigar smoker and just enjoy everything. Yeah. The scenery, the smells, the flavors, the temperature. Just your whole body kind of gets into the state of, this is what we're doing. This is why we're here. We're here to enjoy each other. And obviously that's cigars as well.
Yep.
Love it. What do you think the future looks like for this fall time? I mean, we've kind of talked about Tatuaje kind of obviously done with the typical 13 possibly, and now moving into the Actors Series. Clubs like yours pulling out and bringing us great cigars that have been basically archived and not released again. I mean, what do you think the new scene is? What's going to be the future of this time period in cigars?
Nothing. I mean, you asked me that last time I was on the podcast. So it was almost 2 years ago now. A year and a half ago. I can't wait to come back, by the way. You said, are subscriptions the future of the industry? And I don't think that the subscriptions have become the future of the industry. I think that there's room for it. Now, I'm not saying that there's only a set amount of, like I said, I always come from a position of abundance. There's enough for everyone, right? But I don't think that things like this happen because I'm some smart person and decided that, I'm looking at the cigar industry. It's missing this thing. Look at my graph here. In my graph, it says that if we do something like this, it'll be success. You could have never called this. Right. So it goes back to artistry for me, which is I spent the first 17 years of from like 15 on, from the age of 15, I've been in the studio with professional musicians trying to make a record and, get it out on the air. And I got pretty far, but not far enough. But one thing that I learned is that as an artist, I never knew who I was. And it takes a very, very special person to be in your teen years. It either takes a very special person or a very special mentor or team to crack to mold that thing. But in your teen years, to know who you are. Like, that's why when I look at some of these pop stars like Britney Spears and stuff, people look at that, oh, that's corny, it's corny. But like, she knew she wanted to do that, and she knew she was a pop singer from like 4.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, a good artist knows who they are. Privada has always known exactly what it is.
And what is it?
You know, it's a limited cigar club that has a story for every cigar that they sell, and, you know, really focuses on limited edition products. Okay?
Love it. Know who you are.
Okay. And it's doing really, really well. But if someone else tries to do that, will that do well? I don't know. I don't think so. It's the ideas that are going to come. So when you say, "Oh, our subscription's the future," I told you then I didn't think so, because I think that there's other ideas out there that could actually be the future. So all I'm saying is I don't think that. I think that it would suck if everyone in the world, you know, created a Halloween cigar. Then it would just really kind of, and that's what was also part of the reason why I was hesitant in doing this. But again, I feel like it's such an original idea, the Ghost concept, that I was okay with putting that out, you know? So I don't know. I hope not. I hope more original ideas come out. And I just hope that people really know who they are and what they bring differently to the table, because I really don't think that you can just copy Privada. Sure, I'm sure you'll pull some of my members, or maybe, you know, get new members or whatever. But like, there's something else. I've seen you unbox some really cool ideas, and I thought some of those were going to take off, and they, you know, have definitely not, you know, blossomed yet. At least yet, you know. So, you know, who knows what's going to happen next year? All I can tell you is that I'm very excited about Thanksgiving, and I'm very upset that I couldn't pull it off in time for this year. Because Thanksgiving is my ultimate favorite day. It makes people in the charitable spirit. There's great food. There's room to smoke a couple cigars that day.
Right.
You know? So I'm really, really excited about next Thanksgiving, even more so than the next Ghost.
So this Thanksgiving, there's nothing going to be released, or are you going to be?
No, there's going to be something released. There's going to be something released, but it's not going to be presented the way like this was a full-on presentation.
Sure.
You know, although it will be presented, but it's not going to be exactly what I want yet, and that's okay. I just have to wait another year,
sure,
God willing, and I'll be able to put it out. But I'm just so in love with what we just created it, and I'm just so in love with it that I'm just so excited to get it out.
Right. There's always room for edition number 2 or volume number 2, right, where you slowly keep building on it and make it the way you wanted it.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. But yeah, I think fall is a great time, and not just even Halloween. I think fall is just a great time for cigars.
Right.
And I think that would be awesome, as long as it doesn't get like overly saturated, you know. But
absolutely,
it's not up to me.
Well, I appreciate the conversation on this. I mean, obviously, people are chiming in over here on the comment board. Tell us what cigars you like during the fall time. Love to hear that. Love to hear what you are interested in. As always, Brian, thank you for being on the show. This has been awesome. I've really appreciated
Thanks for having
the opportunity to kind of...
Can I say one thing?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. So first of all, I always thank you, because I honestly don't know if there would be a Privada without Rob Gagne. I don't know what you saw in us or what it was that you know, you asked me if I sent you something, if you could unbox it, and that gave birth to a company that has made so many people so happy. Like and then I also want to say thank you to every member. Thank you to everyone that shops on the store. Thank you to everyone that even supports that. I am just lucky to be a part of this. You guys are a community. And that community is turning into a cigar movement, and it's beyond anything I could have ever imagined. And I'm proud to be a part of it with you.
You're so welcome, and thank you. I mean, obviously, like you said, it's the members that make it what it is. So kudos to them for just jumping in, full feet, both feet, getting ready to just enjoy more cigars. And again, I'm excited for Thanksgiving, what you got coming up for next year as well. Appreciate all of this. Everyone out there that's smoking cigars, appreciate you. The more people smoking cigars, the better off our culture is going to be. We love it. Thank you all. Leave your comments down below. As always, if you need anything from Privada Cigar Club, head over to privadacigarclub.com. Check it out.
And go to your local shops and ask them to be a part of the LCA. The Limited Cigar Association is taking off. This thing is going nuts, and we're looking forward to bringing experiences to your local favorite shop.
I've seen it pop up in my neck of the woods. Definitely the Paul, is it Stoic? Stoic? What's his name? Paul? Stulak.
Yeah.
That cigar has been all over in my community. People have been coveting it, seeking it out at different retail locations. So thank you to those that have decided on retail levels to carry these cigars for us as fans and aficionados to go and seek your establishment, buy those cigars, and create new relationships inside your shop. So,
cigar heads unite.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Brian. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. You can catch us out, obviously, next Friday. We'll be doing another one of these, and every Friday at noon Central Standard Time. Thank you all. Have a great weekend.